Okay, what's up YouTube? So today we're going to be talking about hair porosity for natural hair. Now, you may be asking, what exactly is hair porosity? Hair porosity is just the measurement of how well your hair absorbs and retains moisture. So there are three types of hair porosity. The first one is low porosity, meaning that your hair has a harder time with absorbing moisture. It's more prone to product buildup because it does not absorb product that easily. It tends to be more difficult to moisturize. The next one is medium porosity, meaning that your hair is in the middle. It's a nice balance of porosity. Your hair doesn't have that much of a hard time absorbing moisture, and it doesn't have a hard time with retaining moisture. It's just right. And then the last one is high porosity, meaning that your hair actually doesn't have an issue with absorbing moisture. It actually can absorb moisture very easily, but the issue is it loses moisture very easily. So it comes and it goes. Just as quick as it comes, it leaves. So that is the issue with high porosity hair. Now, you may be wondering, how exactly do I determine what my hair porosity is? Well, there are a couple of ways to determine your hair porosity. Some people will just take a strand of their hair and they'll just run their finger over the hair strand. And when you run your finger over the hair strand, if it's smooth and it feels like, like, I don't know, like it's smooth and there's not a lot of bumps and ridges, that usually means that you have low porosity hair because your cuticle is closed, i.e. why it is hard for it to absorb moisture. Now, if you use your finger and you run it over the hair strand and you feel a lot of bumps and ridges, that means that you have high porosity hair, or usually that means you have high porosity hair, because high porosity hair, the cuticle is open, which is why it is easy for it to absorb moisture, and also why it is easy for moisture to leave so easily. And then if you feel your hair and there's not a significant amount of smoothness or bumps and ridges, and that usually means that you have medium porosity hair. When you take a shower, if your hair takes longer to dry, that usually means you have low porosity hair. If your hair doesn't take that long to dry at all, in fact it dries pretty quickly, that's probably because you have high porosity hair. And then, as per usual, if your hair doesn't take too long or it's not too fast to dry, then that usually means you have medium porosity hair. Today, we are going to be doing the water glass test, meaning we're going to take a strand of our hair and we're going to put it in a glass, and then we will see where our hair ends up, and that will tell us what porosity our hair is. So today, to figure out our hair porosity, we're going to do the water glass test. This is one of a couple of ways that you can test to see what your hair porosity is. So all you do is you take a glass of water, like so. I would suggest that you use lukewarm water, so not too hot or not too cold water, just right there in the middle. And then you're going to take a strand of your hair. I have a couple of strands in my hair. Okay, so now I am going to place a couple of my hair strands into the glass of water. So you're just going to drop it in there. You don't want to push it or shove it into the water. Just drop it and let it do what it do, and let it sit there for about 5 minutes, and then you can come back. Okay, so 5 minutes are up, and so we're going to see the results of our hair porosity test. So if your hair is floating towards the bottom of the cup, that means that you have high porosity hair. If your hair is floating towards the middle of the cup, that means that you have medium porosity hair, meaning your hair is normal. So you have a great balance of both porosities in your hair. And then if your hair is floating at the top of the cup, like my hair is, then that means that you have low porosity hair. So as you can see, my natural hair, or my hair strands, are floating at the very top of the cup. or the glass of water. So that means that I have low porosity hair. Okay, so now that we see how the water glass test works, we're going to talk about how to care for low porosity hair. And the reason why I'm talking about low porosity hair is because I have low porosity hair, as you saw in the water glass test. Meaning that my hair, it takes some time to absorb moisture, but when that moisture is in there, it is in there. But I am going to share 6 tips that I have come to learn on my own on how to care for low porosity hair. So number 1 is using good heat, or using heat on your hair when you're conditioning or when you're rinsing out conditioner from your hair. Disclaimer, if you watch my natural hair washing routine from months ago, you will see that I use cool water to rinse out my hair. Now, my hair routine has changed since then because I have done a lot more research about low porosity hair, and I came to understand that for low porosity hair, it's more effective to use warm water as opposed to cold water or cool water to rinse your hair. And the reason why is because with low porosity hair, your cuticle is closed off. It's not the fact that it's, open, you gotta seal it. It's the fact that it's already sealed, and to get the moisture in there, you have to open it up. And the way that you open up your hair cuticle is by using heat. That's why usually when you condition your hair, no matter what your hair porosity is, you use a conditioning cap, you use a steamer, anything that causes heat you usually use when you're conditioning your hair. So it's the same premise, but for low porosity hair, it's kind of a requirement if you want the moisture to get in there. So I have seen a difference between how my hair felt when I use cold water and when I use hot water, or warm water I should say. So when I use cold water, like my hair didn't feel, it didn't feel too stripped of moisture, but I definitely noticed that my hair felt a lot more softer and moisturized when I use warm water. So that is my first advice to anyone with low porosity hair, is to use heat when you are conditioning, meaning that when you condition, put a cap on your head that causes heat, or use a hooded dryer when you're deep conditioning, or what else can you use? A hair steamer when you're deep conditioning. And then also when you rinse out your conditioner, use warm water instead of cool water, because you need the moisture to get in there. You don't necessarily need it to be sealed because you have low porosity hair, so that's not how our hair operates. But that is the first tip. Use good heat. My second advice to anyone with low porosity hair is to clarify often. Now, I know in the natural hair community, we don't like to use the shampoo a lot. We don't. A lot of naturals probably shampoo their hair maybe once or twice a month. But for low porosity hair, our hair is more prone to buildup because, as I keep mentioning, our cuticle is closed off, and so as a result, not only does moisture have a hard time with getting in there, but so do products. And so as a result, the products build up on our hair. So it is important that we are clarifying our hair to make sure that our hair is clean and that moisture has more of a chance of getting in there because our scalp and our hair isn't dirty. So yes, clarifying often is important. My third tip is humectants are your BFFs. Now, if you're confused about what a humectant is essentially a product that helps your hair retain moisture. Examples of humectants could be aloe vera juice, glycerin, honey, things of those nature. I tend to use aloe vera juice and honey for my humectants. If you notice in my natural hair hacks video where I share different tips on how to care for natural hair, unconventional tips on how to care for natural hair, you notice that I put aloe vera juice and vitamin E oil in my water bottle that I use for the lock method. And I'm sure everybody knows what the lock method is, so I will not go too much in depth about that. But yes, I use aloe vera juice in my water bottle when I'm spritzing my hair. And the reason why is because it's a humectant, and humectants help retain moisture. So not only do you want to make sure that the moisture gets in there, you want to make sure that it stays there. And using humectants helps your moisture stay in your hair. So yes, using aloe vera juice, using honey in addition to your conditioners or whatever you use to moisturize your hair is really important. You can also add glycerin to your water bottle too. You could add honey to your deep conditioner. There are different methods on how to use humectants with your natural hair routine, but just know that they are very essential for anyone with low porosity natural hair. My fourth tip is that oil rinses are the bomb. They are the bomb. Oil rinses are basically when you rinse your hair out with oil. It's pretty self-explanatory. How you oil rinse is up to you. Some people will use like one of those bottles with the nozzle on the top, so they'll like squeeze it in while they're rinsing their hair. Some people will put the oil on their hair before they put the conditioner or whatever product it is, and then rinse out their hair. For me, I am the latter. I apply the oil to my hair, and then I apply the conditioner, and then I rinse out the conditioner that way. Or I do the oil rinse that way. So, that's my dog, don't mind him. He's old, he hacks a lot, he gets through it though, but yes. Anyways, now in my natural hair wash video, you'll see that I didn't do the oil rinse when I was conditioning my hair, and that's because I forgot. But most of the time I do that. So I usually layer the oil on my hair, and then I apply either the conditioner or the deep conditioner, and then when I rinse out the conditioner, my hair is so soft. It is so soft. It is so moisturized. I don't really know how to explain the science behind why oil rinses work for my hair, and it really combats that low porosity. I really don't know the science. I guess it's because oil is a sealant, and oils help, you know, moisture not only get in there but stay there, I guess. I'm not sure, but I'm just gonna tell you, oil rinses have been working out in my favor, and they leave my hair feeling immaculate. So I would definitely advise anyone with low porosity hair to look into doing oil rinses when you're washing your hair. My fifth tip with low porosity hair is using less product when you're styling, and then also style on wet hair. So one thing that has been, you know, beneficial for me learning about low porosity hair is knowing how to style my hair a lot better. So I do notice that when I use less product, when I'm doing maybe a twist out, bantu knot out, whatever hairstyle I'm doing, I noticed that when I use less product, my hair was more defined. And I think the reason why is because with low porosity hair, like I mentioned earlier, product takes a lot more time to really penetrate the shaft of your hair. And so as a result, it just builds up. And I think the more product you use on low porosity hair, the more buildup not only, but it's also weighing your hair down, which is taking away the definition that you could have had if you had used less product. So I realized that using less product on my hair is essential if I want my hair to be popping. So when I do a twist out, you'll notice that I only use like a dime-sized amount of product or curling cream, and I apply that to my hair. And then also I realized that styling on wet hair works a lot better than me styling on dry hair that I just dampen with water. And I think the reason why, I'm not sure what the reason why is, I just know that I get the best results when I style on wet hair. And I'm not meaning like hairstyles like a bun or anything like that. I mean hairstyles like twist outs, braid outs, a flexi rod set, things where definition is the, you know, the objective. I realized that styling on wet hair is the best way to get that definition. So whoever knows the science behind that, you can definitely explain that in the comments, because I don't know why. It just works out like that. It just works out like that. And then also, side note, I also know that for low porosity hair, our hair takes a longer time to dry. And so therefore, that also gives me a better idea of when to style my hair. So for example, when I do flexi rod sets, one of the main things about flexi rod sets is that your hair needs to be completely dry when you take out the flexi rods. And so I realized that my hair takes forever to dry. So what I'll do is I'll do the flexi rod set the night before, but I'll do it earlier in the evening. So meaning I'll probably do the flexi rod set at maybe 4 in the afternoon, 5 in the afternoon, and then I'll leave it in overnight, and then I'll take it out in the morning and my hair is completely dry, because that is literally how long it takes for my hair to dry. So knowing your hair porosity is really helpful when you're trying to style your hair and make your hair poppin', because me learning about low porosity hair has definitely stepped up my game and styling my twist outs and flexi rod sets and all that fun stuff. But yes, so using less product when you're styling your natural hair and using products on wet hair is the key for low porosity hair. My last tip is to use protein seldomly. I rarely do protein treatments because for me, the main thing that I have to worry about for my hair, since I have low porosity hair, is moisture. I just need to make sure that moisture is getting in there, it's staying in there, and you know, it's good to go. So you will rarely see me do a protein treatment because it's not really necessary for my hair for me to constantly do protein treatments. I usually do protein treatments maybe once a month at that, or maybe every other month. Like, I don't do them very often, they're very rare. And the reason why is because a lot of protein can cause buildup on low porosity hair, because like we've been saying throughout this video, you know, moisture or product and moisture in general, they just don't penetrate the hair shaft very easily for low porosity hair, so that ends up in buildup. So using a lot of protein on my hair is just not a good idea, because that's just going to cause even more buildup. So I only use protein treatments very seldomly. And also, when I am using protein treatments, I always have a humectant involved. So if you watch my DIY protein treatment video that I made a couple of months ago, you'll see that in the mixture that I made, I also included honey in there. And I included olive oil, I believe I included olive oil. And the reason why I added honey primarily is because honey is a humectant, and like I stated before, humectants help retain moisture. So although I was using protein on my hair, I was still not taking away moisture from my hair. I was still restoring the moisture in the protein treatment by using honey. And so as a result, even though I did the protein treatment, my hair still felt soft. It felt really soft actually after I did that DIY protein treatment. But yes, those are my tips for anyone with low porosity hair. It's pretty important to know what your hair porosity is, because just like knowing your hair type, it helps you understand how to better take care of your hair and how to better style your hair, because what may work for me may not work for someone else, especially if I have low porosity hair and someone else has high porosity hair. Although we're both natural, things are just, they're not going to work for us. They're not going to work for us the same. So it's definitely important to know where you fall on the spectrum of hair porosity. But that's all I have for today. I hope you guys enjoy this video. If you have any tips about how to care for low porosity hair, definitely leave a comment down below. And definitely subscribe, like, and comment, and share, because I am so trying to build a community here on YouTube for us natural girls who also love fashion and music and whatever else have you. But yes, definitely subscribe to my channel and stay tuned for whatever else I have in store. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.